Hi, I'm Siddharth, and in this screencast we'll see how you can create a simple wiki application using Django. The first thing you'll need to do is get Django, go to djangoproject.com and download it. Once you've installed Django, you can then start off with the application. The first thing we need to do is create the project. So we use the Django admin command to do that. I'm going to call the project WikiCamp because this project was initially done for the WikiCamp event. So what this does is it creates a WikiCamp folder and puts a bunch of files in there. The file we want to look at now is manage.py, which provides some administration tasks from the command line. So we say start app wiki. This creates some more stub files. So we can see here the WikiCamp, we've got 3 files: settings, manage, URLs, and when we did the start app it created the wiki directory with some more stub files, models and views. So going back to WikiCamp, the first thing we need to do is set up the settings. We're going to set up the database settings. So here we go, scroll right to the top. You can choose your database engine. I'm going to use SQLite. And the database name wiki.db, and because SQLite doesn't have username and passwords, we leave all that blank, and then scroll right down to the end. Under installed apps we add our application wikicamp.wiki, and here are some other standard applications which Django installs by default. We can probably get rid of some of them, we don't need it for this application. Right, so we've set up the settings. Next we'll go down and edit the models file. So what the models file does is it allows you to define your models in Python code, and how Django works is it looks at your models from the Python code and derives the database tables from that, plus you can use your model object to access, do gets, updates without writing any SQL. So we'll define our class. Because a wiki is just a collection of pages, we'll call it page and inherit from Django's model class. A page has 2 fields. One is a name, the name of the page, and the content. So we'll create that. We also set the primary key to be true for this field. So when Django creates a database tables, it will set the name field as the primary key, and we say that the content can be blank, so we set blank equal true. That's our model. We go back, and if we go to manage and tell it to sync the database, it then creates all the tables looking at our models, and you can see here it's created a table wiki page. That's the table to store our data. And Django also has an inbuilt development server which we are going to use now. So I say run server, and 127 8000. Let's see if the server is up. It is up, so that's good. So now that our server is up, we can go back. The next step is to define the URLs and map them to some functions. So you do that by editing urls.py. We're going to give the URLs in the form of regular expressions and map them to functions. So we say wikicamp slash so what this says is it will convert this into a named parameter, So here we have a regular expression. It says wikicam slash whatever, store this in the page name variable, and if you get a URL of this type, send it along to the wikicam.wiki.views.edit view page function. So if we get this URL, it will get mapped down to the view page function, and let's just copy this. And then if we say we go to this URL slash edit, then send it along to the edit page function and send it to the save page function. So we have three URLs in our application: view, edit and save. We've just mapped them out. Let's go back to our server, wikicam slash start. So it says view does not exist, view page. So it's got the URL, it's mapped it, it sees that it should be mapped to view page function, but we haven't written that function yet, so let's do that now. So we put all our views in the views.py file. Let's create our view page function. We get two parameters: request, that's always sent, it has details about the request, and page name, this is extracted from the URL. So what we're going to do is page is equal to page.objects.get pk equal to page name. What this line does is, page is our model class that we defined previously. It uses that model class to get the page name out of the database. So it searches the database, is the primary key equal to page name. If it finds it, it will be stored into page, but if it doesn't find it, it will throw an exception, so we need to catch that. Page does not exist. So if the page doesn't exist, then we need to show the user a screen saying blah blah blah, the page doesn't exist, do you want to create a new page? So what we'll do now is return render to response. So what render to response does is, you can specify a HTML file and you can specify a dictionary. So dictionary has a mapping of name and values, and your HTML file can reference these names, and Django will then render the template using these values. So we need to create that file, create.html, which we'll do in a couple of minutes. First let's get these sorted out from wikicam.wiki.models import page, from Django.shortcuts import render to response. Alright, so let's go back here, and it's given us an error in line number 9. Where's line 9? Turn render to response, looks okay. Oh, here we go. Okay, so let's run that again, and now it says the template doesn't exist because the create.html, we haven't yet written it, so we'll do that now. Back to settings, and in settings we got to tell it where we can find the template files. So in the template dirs we'll put it wikicam/templates. So we tell Django to look in this directory for all the files that we want. Let me just check the directory name. Now it's projects. Okay, so let's create that directory here, templates. There we go. Now in this directory we can dump in all our HTML files which are to be rendered. So the first one we need is create.html that we're using in the view. Let's just fill that up. So we'll create a simple HTML page which will just tell the user like the page you wanted does not exist, so do you want to create a new page? And you can see here in these double flower brackets you can reference any variables passed from your Python code. So let's just quickly create this page. This page does not exist. Do you want to create? So like we said, to edit the page we have a URL, so I'm going to put that URL in here, wikicam/page name/edit, right, and say create. So we'll give him a URL where he can then go ahead and create the page. Now we have everything. So there you go. Start, the page does not exist, do you want to create? So if I click this, it's going to now take me to start/edit, which it says now for this URL it tries to search for the edit page function which we haven't written. So let's go back and write it. Def edit page request comma page name. And now in edit page what we want to do is show the user a page with a text box where he can type in anything he wants. So again, we'll search the database for the page. If it exists, we have to pre-populate the text area with the contents of the existing page. If the page is new, it doesn't exist, we'll just leave it blank. So we'll do that again. Get the page out of the database, page.objects.get, and we can take out the content equal page.contents. So since page is that model we defined earlier, it has two fields, so you can access the database columns by just accessing it as a field. And if the page doesn't exist, we'll set the content to blank, and we'll send it along to edit.html. And we'll pass in the content as well. So there we go, we've got the content, we've got it. Let's reload this page. Right, so now it can't find edit.html because we haven't written it yet. So we do that, edit.html blah blah blah, title, page name, editing, in the body we give a little form, we'll set it to post, /save. So once this form is submitted, it will be sent to the save URL, and in the form we say text area name equal to content, columns 60, so it looks reasonably decent, and we'll put the content in here if it exists. Obviously the first time round it's not going to. And we need to have a submit button, so we'll just create that in here, equal to save page form/body/html. So that's our edit page. Here we go, and there you go. We've got a text box, we've got the save page, and it says editing start. So we can now put in some content here. This is the start page, but we can't click the submit button yet because we haven't yet implemented the save URL, this URL. So if we want to save this page, we're going to have to do that, and let's do that now. So that URL is mapped to the save page function. If you look at the urls.py from before, again we see if the page already exists. If it already exists, we'll overwrite the contents, otherwise we'll need to get a new page. Page name page.content equal to, okay. So now we need to get the content out of the form. So the form data is stored in the request parameter as a dictionary. So that's how we get it out and set page.content to it. And if the page does not exist, then we create the page. So page equal to page, call the constructor, name equal to page name, content equal to content. That's it. And then we save the page. And now once you save the page, we have to go back to viewing that page. So instead of render to response, we need to create a redirect to go back to the view page. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So http response redirect. Okay, so it's going to redirect back to the original, and let's just import that. And now when we save the page, it's going to redirect, so it's going to call the view page again, except that this time the page will be found. So we have to handle the normal flow here, and this time we'll say render to response. Instead of calling create.html, we'll call view.html, pass in the page name, and the content. And here we have to say content equal to page.content. So we take the page out of the database, get the content value, and call view.html. And we now have to create view.html. View.html. So let's just edit it out. HTML. So it's like start, but this time we have to show the actual content, so we'll put that in here. And we have to also give them the option of editing the page if they want to change it later on. So we'll put back the URL of the edit page. And that's that. Okay, let's try to save this page. There you go, it's saved it. You can see that the URL has redirected to the view page URL, and the view page has displayed the page. Now if we click edit page, it should go back to the edit page, but oh, we have an error. Okay, this is a simple one to fix. Where's views? There we go. Edit page. So this variable is wrong. Okay, let's do that again. Yeah, so this time the content has been pre-populated, and we can put in some more content. This is more content. Let's save this, and you can see that the page has been saved. You'll also notice that if we want to put in anything useful like formatting, we got to type in HTML directly, right? So this is not an ideal situation. Let's just fix this. You can see it's just rendering the HTML directly. Most wikis, they have their own formatting language which allows you to format text without typing HTML, and we want our wiki to have that as well, right? So we're going to use the markdown module. Markdown is one of those formatting languages. So what this markdown module will do is it'll transform anything written in markdown and convert it to HTML. So we'll call that here. To transform the content, and let's just edit this page so we can see. So this is markdown syntax, and you can see that it is automatically converted to a list. And we can go to any other page as well. New page. It says new page does not exist. Create. Yes, I want to create new page. Save it, and that is. So if I go to start, there's the start page. If I go to new page, there's the new page. So you can create pages, you can view pages, you can edit pages. Basically everything you can do in a wiki, you can do it with markdown syntax, and you can do all that. It's pretty simple. It's just a few lines of code, 3 functions, each function around 5 to 6 lines, and a couple of templates, pretty small templates, and there you have it, a wiki with markdown support. That's the end of the screencast. I hope you enjoyed it. You can get in touch with me on my website. Thanks.